Good morning, everybody. We are going to talk about something that heavily affects employers, and that is call offs and general lack of reliability when it comes to the workforce. Now, of course, I am not necessarily going to argue an employer's favor. Honestly, a lot of the pay rates are so cripplingly low, it's not a surprise why you can't find reliable people. This is the thing. As a company, I don't give a fuck what your excuse is. If you don't pay people enough to be reliable, they're not going to be reliable. All right. If you want a worker who can just show up like that, all right, who can fill in a shift whenever, all right, one, you got to pay them well enough that they don't want to turn it down. All right, which is an odd balance because if you pay them too well, then why the hell would they need the extra money? Unless there's some kind of promotion or some kind of rank higher in the system that they, might be able to leverage their reliability for. Um, but if you pay them too poorly, then they get towards the band of, well, I could go in, but nah, fuck that. All right. If you want reliability, all right, like winter storms, the amount of stories that came out with the most recent winter storm in the Northeast, um, a lot of companies still expected their people, doing the arm turn through text or email or any other mode of contact. A lot of employers were like, nah, fuck you, you're going to be here. And it's just like, nah, I got two-wheel drive, bro. I ain't going to be there. All right. If you want people to be reliable, one, you have to pay them enough that they can afford one of these, God help us, god awful modern vehicles. They got four-wheel drive, they have all-wheel drive, and they can't make it to 60,000 miles without blowing a fucking transmission. So you got to pay for that. If you want your workers to buy snow tires, you got to pay for that. All right. You want that level of reliability, rain, sleet, and snow. You want them to match or exceed the fucking post office. Yeah. You got to pay them worth a damn for it. All right. It's like you expect fucking people to just you know, this too. There's another thing worth talking about. I forget the name of the creator, but he showed up in the feed recently, and this kid was talking about how in Kansas or whatever, and it absolutely loaded with f bombs, which is absolutely justified. For those of you Gen Zers out there, you should be pissed. All right, but apparently in Kansas, some flyover state that nobody cares about, they have decided to modify the rules where they changed the minimum wage to $15, but for Gen Z specifically, it's going to be 13.50. And it's just there were people in the comment section, which I adore the comment section, I really do. But there were people in the comment section arguing, well, what the fuck does it matter? These kids live at home anyway. Oh my god. Do you ever want people to be successful? This is the thing. Coming up with excuses to kick people while they're already down, all right? Not exactly great for getting your fucking economy rolling. All right? Yeah, you can pay them 13.50 and they could just leave. All right? Because that's exactly what the fuck they're going to do. They're going to get their 6 months of experience that they can claim, and they're just gonna go to whoever will actually pay them the 15 minimum. Why the hell do we have a 15 minimum? Because it's well, previously was a living wage. All right, why is that such a fucking problem? The younger generations were not born to have to explain every fucking cent they get to a welfare officer. Okay? Nobody, all right, older generation, younger generation, nobody wants to have to report every single 25-cent pay increase to a fucking welfare worker. All right? Nobody wants to fucking do that shit. People want to work and get paid enough to live independently. That used to be the deal. But anyway, in terms of reliability, 15 bucks an hour don't even cut it anymore. 20 is like skirting the surface in a lot of areas, all right? Because the cost of living keeps going up and the lack of reliability is compounding it, and the fact that all of the shit that you can buy in the store, off of dealer lots, anything, the quality across the fucking board has collapsed. Every time your washer breaks, every time your dryer breaks, every time your fucking kitchen oven breaks, your range breaks, your car decides it doesn't want to move because one sensor got pissy, all right? Because you have, and I love this because I say it personally, it's just a ground, all right? This is the thing. Tiny little things break, things are designed to break, and it's just more headaches. And honestly, the majority of the time now is fixing headaches and other people's fuck ups. All right. Reliability is a two-way street. Corporations need to put out quality, and then workers also have to be paid enough to justify outputting quality into whatever they're producing or whatever they're doing. Corporations aren't paying people shit. All right. They're not paying people shit anymore. The majority of people are stuck at the 35 to 65 pay range. All right. And no matter what the fuck they do, the majority of people can't escape it. For the most part, the only way to get out of it is hit the lottery or start doing healthcare. Okay. Start getting trained to do fucking healthcare. And of course, healthcare is no guarantee. It's no guarantee. Any day, the massive amount of money that goes to the healthcare industry could dry up. All it takes is Orange Man and RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy Jr. All it takes is one flick of a pen, and the entire medical industrial complex would collapse. Doesn't take much. So nothing's guaranteed. But if you expect people, all right, to put your business and your organization above themselves, their families, and their personal lives, you have to fucking pay them for it. Okay? There's also the stress part of it. All right? If you want people to concern themselves with the stresses of your business, of your organization, your enterprise, your corporation, if you want them to worry about your problems instead of their problems, they have to be able to afford people to fix their problems so they can afford to focus on your problems. Since you don't do that, they have to worry with dealing with their shit and your shit, and they do both half as effectively. All right, this is not fucking rocket science. They have cars that don't fucking work. Okay, you want in infinite reliability, but you don't want to spend a fucking dime on it. And of course, the argument is always, well, we have to increase shareholder value, and we always have to find the cheapest way to do things. Except for the fact that you've largely cheapened out so much that you've pissed off your consumer base, and that's why half of you are starting the year in the red, at least the Russell 2000. Half of you starting off in the red, and I'm sure it's worse than that. All right. You can come up with scheme after scheme, method after method to hide the fact that your earnings are shit. But it's not going to fix the reality that your earnings are going to continue to be shit, especially with AI and automation. Supposedly, according to what a lot of the news sites have been putting out, you haven't made a dime off AI. Honestly, you spend more money trying to unfuck the problems that AI has brought to you, but you took the obvious chance to get rid of your entire labor force and eliminate the number one cost to an organization. But in the process, you also crippled your fucking consumer base. I hate to tell you this. I don't know who could have possibly thought about this before. Um, Old guy, a lot of hair, um, sold his own pants. Marx. Yeah, the guy everybody likes to shit on, and rightfully, whatever, fine. Say whatever you want. But he wasn't wrong in this aspect. Capitalism left to its own devices kills itself. Not that we've actually had capitalism, is anytime anything goes wrong, you fucking tuck your tail and go crying to the government for a goddamn bailout. But you've killed the consumer. You offshored and automated everything you could, and now you don't have consumers in the number one sales driven economy on earth. Smart idea. Smart idea. And then on top of it, not only are you selling them junk, but predatory lending. Most people understand interest as simple interest, all right? So you hit them for 10% on the principal regularly. And it's just like, okay, fine. People understand that. People still don't understand compounding interest and the fact that you can milk them for an extra $5,000. Let me actually bring up the example. All right. Compound interest on interest. You start with 10K, 20% becomes 12K the first year, 17 to 80 the next year, and actually I should have verified these. I let AI do this. 24K, 883. All right, by year 5. My apologies if the AI is wrong. I'm practically a zombie at this point. A very interesting zombie, though. Anyway, looking at things for what they are, you're not paying people for reliability. You are putting more and more strain, stress, and pressure and bullshit onto people in order to produce diminishing returns. All right. Their work quality, stable at best, declining as more and more pressure builds and they approach the burnout range. But at no point do companies ever seem to sit back and think to themselves, it's like the doorman problem at hotels. All right. Hotels came up with this bright idea that they would just get rid of the doorman at the, fancier high scale hotels. They do this, and all of a sudden, they can't really justify the prices anymore. All right. People are less willing to pay them because they destroyed a massive amount of value with that. Think about everything that a doorman does, dealing with the bums, crooks, problems. All right. They're nice to you, you're nice back, they carry your bags, It's more personal relationship territory. All right. Corporations, every opportunity, they try to cut the cost, cut the cost, cut the cost. But at no point, whilst you have fields of workers consistently being tracked with fucking data metrics constantly. How many times are, and this is especially true in any kind of industrial environment. You're tracking how many times they take a piss, how many times they have to stop and get a drink. You're tracking literally every single bit of fucking downtime that you possibly can. All right. And of course, you're going to use that against them in the future. You're going to have a nice little talk, and maybe you put them on a performance improvement plan. All right. And this applies to white collar and blue collar, the PIP. Um, really, you just piss people off, and they're tired of the shit. They're starting to move away from that. All right. If they're going to be broke and stressed out working for you versus being broke and stressed out just being a leech on the system, what do you think they're going to choose? Do you think the atmosphere you have at your workplace justifies people getting up off their ass just to interact with their coworkers who might stab them in the back, who might rat out something they did to management to try to get them fired? Think about this shit. Most of the workplaces, especially in blue collar, but also in white collar, most of the workplaces are toxic. Constantly jumping on the fucking bandwagon. We're going to do DEI. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You know, when's the last time we had a sexual harassment workshop? And it's just like you realize the more you crush people's balls, the harder they're going to pull away, whether they're, relatively in the right or whether they're in the wrong. People get the message. All right. You treat your people like shit, you get shitty results. All right. Well, we treated our people well and we didn't get any better results. Yeah, if you treat them well for a day, a week, yeah, you're not going to get results. That's the equivalent of handing them a fucking pizza party, right? Congratulations, guys. We made an entire extra yacht for the boss this year. All right. And to really spread the wealth, we're giving you a fucking pizza party. Fuck you. That's all you get. Maybe, just maybe you might get a $20 gift card to TGI Fridays. All right. If you treat people with this much contempt, disrespect, and this is the thing, it's especially disrespect. You don't pay people enough to deal with the problems that they have. You don't pay people enough to be stable. You pay them enough to just keep them coming back like you're a fucking methadone clinic. And I hate to tell you this, your workplace just doesn't give you the same fucking high. It doesn't. All right. People can, I mean, given jobs are difficult and scarce, but that has more to do with some other things that we won't talk about in this video. But if you treat people like shit, you get shit results. All right. And this is the thing, it extends, it goes beyond your workforce because your workforce interacts with your customers. This is the thing, as a business, you create the structure, okay? And your employees go out and they make the money. You pay them, they get customers to buy more and more expensive shit. All right. The more you pay your people on the ground, the better results you can get. But you also have to support them. All right. You can't just give them more money and then just off into the wilderness and expect them to be able to do anything. Workers have zero fucking autonomy. All right. This is especially touching back on the point with the issues that Gen Z has. Like, believe me, I've worked for a corporate where I could have gotten fired for changing a fucking light bulb. I'm not even kidding. I tried to fucking fix a relatively uh, stupid part of a fucking machine. All right, we're not talking like the wheels are gonna fall off. We're not. We're talking about like a fucking pop-up tray connected to a machine. A bolt sheared off. I found an equivalent or better. Got it. Put it on. Set it up. Everything was fine. We had to rip that fucking thing apart because the company does not want to hold the insurance liability for that if it fails again. That's the country we live in. That's what people have been brought up to expect now. When you take away all autonomy because you might have a little bit of insurance liability or a little bit more insurance liability, and that's assuming anybody found out. The risk there is too much. So we're gonna strip out all of that. We're gonna pay 10 times what we pay our employees to have a company come out replace the same fucking bolt with the same fucking bolt. We're going to pay, overall, we're going to pay 15, 20 times more for it versus just paying for 20 minutes or so of an hourly just digging through fucking parts to find shit that'll work, to find shit that will work, that meets expectation code, grade, all that shit. You infantilize the entire fucking workforce with that shit, and now you sit back and wonder why the hell aren't people doing anything? Why do your workers show zero initiative? It's because every time your workers show initiative, they get flicked. All right, they get threatened with termination. They get threatened to get fucking booted out the door. They get paperwork attached to their fucking record. They can't fucking rise up beyond that. Once you have paperwork against you, you got paperwork against you. That sits in HR forever. All right. Back to the point. Back to the point. Whether it's Gen Z and people being okay with kicking them while they're down because they currently, most of them live at home. It's just like, do you ever want them to be able to move out from living with mom and dad in the basement? No, no, you don't. No, no, because you don't care. You don't give a shit about them. And they're repaying the favor. Why does everything suck? You don't pay in, you don't get out. You reap what you sow. After more than 20 years of labor eating the shit sandwich again and again and again and again and again, you never, as a business, and especially the more mouthy ones, you never have to lower your expectations. But every single fucking American, Brit, European, they've been lowering their expectations for over 50 fucking years now. They're tired of that shit. Pay your people and fuck off, or end up losing the business anyway. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. You look at all of the major brand, look at any major brand, every bad story that comes out, you're destroying your future profitability every single time. Toyota used to be great. Then they started making changes. Now Toyota is destroying the one fucking thing that gave it a massive premium. You take a 20, let's go with 10. You take a 10-year-old Ford pickup, all right, its price going to be relatively cheap, all right. You take a 10-year-old Toyota pickup, double what you'd pay for the Ford. If it's less than 10 grand, bring it up to 10 grand, add an extra 2,500. Okay? Because Toyota was known for reliability. You destroy your brand name, every single bad interaction, especially at a point where everybody's interconnected now, where you have internet enabled devices rammed up your ass. You literally cannot escape hearing about any of the shit that's going on in the world now. Now people know. People know Hyundai engines are pieces of shit. People know that Toyota's sinking. People know that problems that some of the more recent Ford recalls has been backup cameras. They're a nice feature. Do we need them? No. How much brain power does it take to realize that if you put in junk technology, at some point it's going to bite you in the ass? If you can't do it right, don't fucking do it at all. All right? No, we're just going to do a recall and we're going to send it to the thousands of service bays with six-figure jobs. Sure, sure. Thousands of bays with six-figure jobs and salaries that are just empty because we can't find workers. specifically to the Ford CEO. Bud, fuck you. Anyway, take your ass back to Argentina. Okay, do that for us. Thank you. And with that, these feelings and opinions are of my own and do not represent Space Consulting LLC. But as far as Farley goes, in my personal opinion, Farley is just literally a chimp in a suit designed to fucking dance while Ford continues to crash and burn. Nah, bro. Fuck you. You're not paying six figures. All right, maybe on your side of the books, you're paying six figures. Generally, the rule is, double the pay rate, um, to account for both sides, the Social Security taxes, the cost of an employee. You pay him 50K, and he ends up costing you 100K in total when you account for the taxes and all the other shit. And all the other shit. Yeah. The days of being able to fuck over labor is over, and the worst part is, I don't think the corporates have really gotten a decent understanding. Whilst there is very much the belief going around, and it is somewhat founded, that this is corporate America getting its payback. The reality is you guys are trying to get payback with your pants down around your ankles, and it's not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well. These people, when you look at the entirety of Western population centers, these people have been bent over the barrel and fucked in the ass so hard for so long. They're not gonna have any fucking mercy on you. They're not. When the workforces in this country finally fucking rise up, holy shit, you're not going to be able to run to a foreign country. They're going to close the fucking borders and not let you pass because they're not going to want the horde of angry fucking Americans who've been losing their cars, losing their houses, losing their future, having their college degrees turned into fucking useless. What good are they? You mount them on the fucking wall. You're not going to hire them with their college degree or anything that they've been fucking skilled in because you keep bringing in foreign labor under H-1B and crying and complaining that nobody wants to work for you for two peanuts and a smile. This is going to end fucking horribly for you. All right? From the bottom of my heart, I mean this. It's going to end fucking horribly for you. Your brands are going to collapse. You're gonna be done. You're not gonna be. You can't. You won't. You have to understand the complexity of this. The reason why the original tariffs were in place is because your broke asses could not compete in foreign markets. Foreign auto producers could fucking wipe the floor with you. What happens when Americans don't buy your shit? What happens when you can't compete on your own home turf? What are people going to do? Walk? Honestly, they're going to have to. You're going to have a lot of people relying on public transportation on whatever not your products that they can get their fucking hands on. And they will start breaking the laws if they have to. All right, K cars aren't legal yet. They'll start riding K cars. Who's gonna fucking bother them? Who's gonna fucking bother them? Things have gotten so bad in this country because the actual working population has had zero fucking investment. Zero. You invest in certain islands, but the last thing you'll fucking do is invest in the actual people of this country. And for both of those, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. But all this fucking time, you have the Rust Belt growing. All right, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Nobody's going to buy your fucking trucks anymore. No one's going to buy any of your shit anymore. This applies to American brands and foreign brands. You keep fucking flooding this country with garbage. No one's going to fucking buy it. things are getting bad enough that people are going to start making their own goddamn washing machines. Okay? They will start making their own dryers. They will start building their own shit because they know damn well they can't trust your shit. And if they're going to throw $500 in a fire, would they rather burn $500 on trusting their own fucking build quality, or are they going to burn $500 trusting your shit that can barely survive its first year? All right? These are just the fucking realities. We've gone way off course. And this is only the beginning of the bottle. This has been Michael from Spades Consulting. If you agree with anything that I've said, like, favorite, sub, share, tickle the bell, ring the bell, do all the things to the bell to your heart's content. If you're interested in personal or business consulting, if you don't want to end up like certain companies, www.spadesconsulting.com without the dash. If you're interested in written content, check out the Substack. I am horrifically behind on it, but also, good God, I've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I am kind of struggling to keep up with all of it, especially when corporate fuck ups, other corporations fuck ups, keep tying up important fucking time that I could have to focus on other things. Life can be a bitch sometimes, so. Anyway, if you're interested in written content, Substack is linked below and on the nav for the website. And with that, I think that covers everything. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.